and welcome to Tech Diva Biz Talks, where we tune in, dive deep, and level up. I'm your host, Audrey Wiggins, aka the Tech Diva, brand strategist, marketing mind, and your guide through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. Let's talk tech. Hello, Tech Diva Nation. Welcome again to the podcast. And we are here today with George Rivera. George helps 7, 8, and 9-figure founders buy back 10 to 20 hours a week. We can just get back 5. We'd be happy. But that's amazing. Okay, while scaling profits, that's the key right there, without becoming the bottleneck in their own companies. He's the creator of the Father First Owner OS and author of the Buyback Time Formula. George's mission is deeply personal. He watched his own father miss countless games and later regretted. Before passing, his father gave him one piece of advice: don't miss Leo's games. Now you can, replace Leo with the name that you need to have in there. But after years of grinding through 80-hour weeks and repeating the same cycle, George rebuilt his companies using a simple philosophy: businesses should run without requiring the founder to sacrifice their life. He now teaches the 3 layers that transformed his world: people who own outcomes, systems that create consistency, and AI that multiplies efficiency. The foundation of his 10K per hour filter. On today's show, George will share how to eliminate key person dependency, delegate outcomes instead of tasks, and pass the famed 2-week vacation test. Because at the end of the day, no one ever says, "I'm glad I skipped my kid's game for a client meeting." George Rivera, welcome to Tech Diva Biz Talks.
Audrey, thank you. So nice to be here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here, and we look forward to you helping us out here because we need a break. Okay. So as we go forward, what is one personal fun fact that you would like to share with us?
Okay, a personal fun fact. I love basketball, San Antonio Spurs, the NBA. That's my team. And, they've had over the last 25 years or so, 5 championships, who's counting? But the last few years have been a little rough, but we're on our way back. So, yeah, kind of a diehard Spurs fan. So for my Spurs fans out there.
Okay. Yeah, there's another one that I think is pretty cool about your son and the real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah. So fun fact too that we do is I taught him how to negotiate real estate at 8 years old. And 8 years old, you don't really, have this foundation, but I'm like, we're going to throw him in there right now and see what happens. So we're looking at this. Exactly. So we're up in northern Michigan, just like my background on the lake. We got a couple properties on the lake that we've purchased. And we were looking at the house, and, the realtor will give you a few minutes with your family to sort of just talk it amongst yourselves and all kind of be in the kitchen. And so we're outside and I'm thinking, oh, this is a teachable moment for my son. And we homeschool our son, so he gets to travel with us in our crazy adventures. I told my son, all right, here's the price. You're going to tell the realtor the price that we want to pay. So this is the offer we're going to make. Tell him to leave the furniture. Because in my head, I'm like, because that'll save us $30,000 because this is going to be an Airbnb. And then see the dock over there. That's $50,000. Tell him we got to leave that there as well. So I'm like, saving $80,000 plus the discount of the offer price, probably saving around $100,000. Like, go tell the realtor that. And he's like, why? And I was like, we'll debrief later. Just go tell him. And yeah, we ended up getting the property. And later I told my son, that's how you explain it. Like, when they make a price that publicly, it's here. Really, they want here. And so we have to go here so we can figure out where that middle number is. By the time it's his turn to start buying properties, he'll take his little ones along for the adventure.
Wow, absolutely. That's fantastic. I love that because we can learn from an 8-year-old, right? Because you're putting in the right information, and price, oh my goodness, is always the pet peeve or the monster in the room for business owners.
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
my goodness. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and get some juicy questions going here so we can learn from you. Did you know 99% of people check their email every day, up to 20 times a day? It's the first thing people do online, even before looking at social media or other news. But viewers retain only 10% of what they read. Adding video to your email, their retention skyrockets to 95%. Video plus email equals success. It's time. The future of email is here. Goodbye, email. Hello, video email. Ready to ride the wave? Visit alltogether.talkfusion.com. We are back with George Rivera. George, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, first up, the 10K per hour filter. You teach founders to operate at their highest value using your 10K per hour filter. What is it, and what's one shift a founder can make this week that immediately reclaims hours back?
Yeah, a good question. So the 10K per hour filter is just basically a dollar amount that you put on your time. For me, I realized it was 10K. For others, it could be $500, could be 1,000, could be more, could be less. But you have to establish a dollar value for what your time is worth. And even before doing that, you do what's called a freedom audit, and you write down everything you do for like, I recommend 2 weeks. I think you're going to get real clarity. That's everything from going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, making food, to doing the work that you do. You won't even need 2 weeks, but I think 2 weeks gives you a great snapshot. But in like 3 days, you're going to start to see things like, oh my goodness, I'm spending a lot of time over here. And so once you identify those things, you sort of put it through a filter of like, should I be doing this? And if the answer is no, kind of move it to the side, because you as a business owner should be doing the highest strategic level stuff that moves the needle for your business, which is bringing in revenue, creating strategic relationships. And of course, every business is different, so you'll have specific things for your industry. But there's a number of things that every business owner, including myself, would do that we should not be doing. And so you take those things that you shouldn't be doing, and then you kind of run it against your whatever your dollar value is. Like, let's just pick $500, for example. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm spending 40 hours a week on things that are worth less than, say $50 an hour. And so that's kind of the low hanging fruit of things that you can get off your plate. And once you identify those things that you shouldn't be doing, there's 3 ways to get them off your plate. And I can go into that now, or
no, go ahead, because actually that was going to be a follow-up question. So fire away.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it all kind of blends together. And so there's 3 things you can do. It's either eliminate, which things like, for example, recurring meetings. It's like, do we really need to be on here? This meeting could have been handled in an email in like less than 5 minutes, and could have and now with AI, you've got those AI note takers that'll jump in for you. So that's been a really, really big time saver. And then the other one, automate. There's so many things that we're doing that we don't need to be doing anymore. For example, like, having like forwarding certain emails. Like, I used to have all these emails from vendors and creative partners and just different departments come to me, and then I'm manually forwarding it to the people on my team that need to have it. That creates, first, I'm the bottleneck. So like, I got to be present to do that. And if I want to have a life, it's hard to be spinning plates. And then the other thing is, there's that room for human error too. Like, oh, I'm sending to the shipping department an invoice that should have gone to accounting. So like, that happens on occasion. And of course, there's ramifications for that. And so when you can set up your filters to sort of like start going in the right direction, automation, hands-free, that obviously saves time, creates more efficiency, and things get done without falling through the cracks. And then the last thing is delegation. And so I kind of, to back up a little bit, kind of the old me. So I'm up here and I had the worst org chart in human history. I had 40 people beneath me in one row. So you can imagine,
wow,
everybody's like coming back up to me. A problem would come up. I would just hire for it and then here, solve that. But I never really like properly explained the task. I just assumed that they sort of knew. So I would have said, hey, I'm delegating, but it's not working. It kept boomeranging back to me. And the thing is, tasks boomerang back to you if you don't transfer proper ownership of the task. You need to delegate with true ownership. You need to show them how the task is done, what does success look like. And there's so many tools now with AI, and you put it on a Google Doc, you have ChatGPT explain for you exactly like how to do it, because we can leverage AI to systematize these things. What I love to do is create like a Loom video, or use a screen recording software to sort of explain the task. And then you take the transcript, you put it in ChatGPT, you say, make me a nice SOP, standard operating procedure, out of this, step by step. It'll produce it so beautiful for you. You copy that, put it on a Google Doc, accompany it with the Loom video. Here you go. Take 10 minutes, watch that. Let me know what questions you have. Okay, we're good. We're good. I should never hear about that again until like technology changes or we're changing vendors or something in that instruction changes foundationally. But it's off my plate. I don't want to see it again. That's why I'm paying you to handle it. You just confirmed that you're good with it. So that's how you transfer ownership. And you give them the ability to improve upon it as well. So if you're hiring them to do a specific task or a group of tasks, you're obviously hiring somebody you believe is capable of doing it. Give them the freedom to even improve the process. And that's how you remove yourself from being the bottleneck and run more efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, for a solopreneurs that may hire a VA or, a contract employee, that this would be perfect. You're talking about
Absolutely.
operating standards. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, Father First Owner OS. Break down the Father First Owner OS and how does this framework actually make a company run without the founder becoming the bottleneck? And technically, I think you really, or the burnout case, you really answer that. So I don't know if you want to expand on it or not.
Yeah,
Want to
I
mention.
could go briefly in kind of how the whole father theme came about. It kind of goes back to the beginning, talking late 80s, early 90s. So I'm in like middle school, high school in this time frame, and I played basketball in high school and in middle school, and there were about 40 games that I played in, and my dad only went to one of those games. And he was a good guy, busy in his career. He was a medical doctor, and all about just doing well to the world, but he was kind of missing at home quite a bit. It's just one of those like you can't do both, it seems, and that's how I was taught early on. And so I remember I'd score a basket or make a good pass or even like step out of bounds, and I'm looking to the stands, to see if there's a dad there appreciating me or encouraging me. Hey, I stepped out of bounds, Dad. Am I still good? Yes, you are. Go get him, son. Like sons need that. Sons need approval from the dad. And so I didn't have that. And I remember one of my friends and teammates, they would score and their dads were going wild for them, adoring their son. High fives, here's your Gatorade during timeouts and stuff. And I remember looking at a dad just like loving on his kid after a good play. And I was like, I wish he was my dad. And that would have completely crushed my dad hearing that. Again, he
Yeah.
was a good guy and great provider. Like, he was top of his field. We always had nice homes and cars and trips to Europe. I had the coolest toys. So like you get to hang out with George, you get to hang out with his toys too. And that was part of my identity. That's what I brought to the table. And so all that stuff didn't matter when I needed him the most. I needed him to be there to see me and essentially like approve of me. And so fast forward 20 years. So now this is 10 years ago to 2015. And, my dad's entering his 40th year of his medical practice and he's gearing up for the last third of his life. He's 67. My grandparents, his parents, had passed away a couple years prior in their mid 90s. Really healthy and good. They just kind of like the old age kind of thing. And I'm like, hey, sign
Yeah.
me up for that. Like if I can go in my sleep and then really close with my spouse, because the heartbroken thing, like they went quickly after one another. And so he's thinking, hey, good genes. I got some longevity. But then early in the year, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so it's interesting how you can get thrown a curveball in life. And he was given 6 to 9 months to live, and we made great relationship, just healing from the past and all that stuff. He made his peace with the
Beautiful.
Lord, and yeah, so
Beautiful.
all's good in that sense. But yeah, towards the end of his life in the last couple of weeks, and we're literally like this month is the 10-year anniversary of his passing. And he told me that, like what you said in the intro, don't miss Leo's games. I miss too many of yours. And when he told me that, I was like, holy cow. Like those emotions of me, middle school, high school, missing those games just bubbled up. I thought I suppressed that. I thought I'd never see that again.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was just like long lost. I didn't even know where I parked that, but it just came back. And I was like, wow. And there's a sense of sweet closure to that. Like at the time, I'm thinking, is work more important than me? Where's my dad? Confusion. And to just know that pained him to some degree sort of was like sweet closure I never asked for, but I'm thankful for that. And then the other thing is, oh my goodness, I am my dad all over again. And at the time he's telling me this, I'm like I'm giving my family great homes and cars and trips to Europe. And you would have seen me a couple years prior high-fiving my dad, like, Dad, you taught me how to work. It's all about hustle. It's all about, hey, if I'm going to be successful, I can't be at home, but that's okay because that's how you taught me, Dad. And I could always tell that he was a little bit like, son, it ain't all that it's cracked up to be, but
Yeah.
he didn't really say it, but I could see it in his face. But when he told me that don't miss Leo's games, he missed too many of mine, he essentially like lovingly agitated inside of me that I can't continue this because my son Leo at the time was 10 months old and I'm already missing a lot of firsts. Like he's starting to walk and starting to communicate and his personality's coming through and I'm getting glimpses because I'm just working and putting out fires and so, yeah, my dad lovingly agitated inside of me. I can't keep going on, but I'm working 16, 18-hour days as I'm hearing this message and I believe in it. But I'm like, who's going to do all the important stuff that only I can do? My business needs me. And yeah, try to reverse the lifestyle back. Doesn't really work that well. Once the family's used to something, it's kind of like, it's a I mean, if you have to do it, you have to do it, but it's
Yeah.
not a pleasant thing to do. And so I went another 2 or 3 years. He'd passed away. And so 2 or 3 years later, we're talking 2018, I'd scaled the business to $20 million that year. And had you told me that years prior, I'd be like, I made it to the summit. I made $20 million. Like I'm on top of the world. But and I had a money printer spitting out money on demand, pressing a button because I was in direct response marketing. And it's just like, how much can you spend? As long as you got a profitable campaign, that's how much you can make. And it was like limitless. It felt how much money I could spend. But I
Yeah.
was literally scaling chaos because I didn't have frameworks in place. So I was like scaling the insanity along with it. And my dependency got bigger and bigger. And I was being the hero to my business, solving fires and problems. But my family is the one that needed the hero at home. And I was completely missing in action in that sense. And this all kind of like boiled up to this one summer in 2018, August. I call it the Rome call. So I email my coach and my mentor, and I'm like, man, there's some days that I just hate this business. And I don't say the word hate that much. If I say it, it's like visceral feeling of hate and
Yeah.
disgust and anger. And so and I fired off and I just had to vent. And the reason I sent that email is because he was in Rome with his family for like a week. And I'm like, hit me back when you're back in the States. But I just need to get this off my chest. And I felt a sense of relief to vent. And I'm like, all right, back to the grind until I pass out, but with a little bit of a renewed sense because I'm no longer as stressed until later tonight, of course. But then he calls me 20 minutes later. I'm like, oh man, I thought you're in Rome. Yeah, I'm in Rome, but I got your email and this is like an SOS call. Like we need an intervention right now. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And so it was a 2 hour conversation. It's like almost midnight in Rome and it's afternoon here in the States. And so grateful for my, now he's my dear friend who kind of came in and it almost like saved me from this madness. And long story short, from a 2 hour conversation was you need to quit doing the things you don't like to do and only do the things you like to do. And I'm just like, 23 years in business and this finally clicked. I was like, I guess better late
Yep.
than
Yep.
never. And so that phone call set the foundation for what I call now the buyback time formula. Didn't have the name then, but that's when I started to value my time, audit my time, and see what could I take off of my plate. And then the true transformation occurred 3 years later. So I took the business from $20 million to just shy of $50 million, more than double. But I went from working like 80-hour weeks sometimes to never working more than 30 hours a week. And I was actually living a lifestyle of like semi-retirement. I'd be off the grid for like weeks at a time. Like you mentioned the 2 week absence test earlier. So like I passed that. I passed like a 2 month absence test. And fires still come up, but other people put them out. It doesn't have to be me anymore. The frameworks take the heavy lifting off of my shoulders. And so that was the pinnacle of the transformation. That's when I was buying real estate with my son and just really pouring into my son. I never missed any of his games like my dad, advised me not to. And yeah, and so that's it. And so over the last, say 3-4 years, I've had a number of friends and peers in different groups and different networks. It's not like they talk to each other or conspire. Let's call George and tell him this idea. But I just keep hearing like, you got to teach this stuff. You got to teach people how you're able to do this. I'm like, teach them what? And like you're traveling, you're investing in other businesses, you're got passive income, you're making money from your main thing. And you're just like living this great life. You're not missing family moments. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So what do? Teach how to travel, teach how to be with your family. And I couldn't piece it together until
Yeah.
the last 6-7 months. This whole idea, this concept of buying back time from your business, remove yourself from the business And then you can do whatever you want with that time. But I'm family first, father first guy. So I'm going to resonate with the me of 10 years ago, which is cash rich, time poor. Cash rich means you're making lots of money. Time poor means your family gets none of your time. Business gets all the time. And so I know there's men out there that need to hear this message. And hey, you couldn't have your cake and eat it too. Because the biggest fear is that if I pull off, step off the gas from my business, it's going to collapse. And that's like the biggest lie in the whole world. It'll collapse if you do nothing. But if you implement proper frameworks that have been proven and stand the test of time and delegate properly, not the way that I used to, but the way that I do now, you can be confident that those frameworks will hold up your business instead of you propping it up on your back. The frameworks will hold it up. And then my passion, my desire is to help men realize that your kids need you. They need the presence of a man in the child's life is so important. And so this is about bringing the dad back home, saving the family. My dad lost his family, kind of like working and living this lifestyle. I was on pace to lose my family. I've seen where the movie ends. I didn't like the ending. And so I made the decision that, hey, this has to change. And that Rome call in 2018 was sort of like the beginning of that change. And I survived to tell about it. Now I just want to tell other people that there's another way.
Absolutely. That is awesome. And we all need to hear that. And for me, I don't have a spouse or kids, but at the same time, I need to rest. I need to go run. Well, I'm not going to run, walk around the block and, go get a manicure and a pedicure, just,
Absolutely.
or like you're talking about, doing this travel thing. So, beginning to add that to, not just a bucket list, but into the activities, because it's just crazy that what we do. And like you said, we think we have to be there. And I like how you talk about, like I was reading, through some of your stuff there, about delegating the outcomes and not just a task. So people get, real ownership of what it is that they're expected to do, and that really takes you out of the loop. And because if it's just a task and then they're just coming back to you and you're still too, we could still be too hands on. Sponsored by Altogether Domains, bringing your business online. Whether you are launching a new venture or leveling up your brand, altogetherdomains.com helps you secure your digital real estate the smart way. Visit altogetherdomains.com. So can you explain a little bit more about the 2-week vacation test? You had just mentioned that a moment ago. I think that's important too.
Absolutely. So like at the highest level, and this is what I do, and it's in my book, and when I work with clients directly too, like on our onboarding call, we talk about the 2-week vacation test, and sometimes I can just feel it. And we're on a Zoom call and I kind of like see it like, oh my gosh, this 2-week test. Like I can't even take an hour off. How are we going to take 2 weeks off? And if that is how you feel when you hear it, great. You need this. You need this even more if it's like making you a little nervous and anxious. So my goal is like within 6 months, we're going to book a 2-week vacation test. And if they freak out too much, I'm like, hey, make it a week, but it's got to be significant to where it really counts for something. And we're going to invest in it. We're going to buy the tickets. We're going to see like if you've got a family, where do they want to go that you haven't taken them because work has been like keeping you like a ball and chain over there instead of over here with your family. Just say Disney World, for example. All right, buy your flights, but get your tickets, hotels, whatever you got to do to financially commit to that. And the talk starts now. We need to work you from being the bottleneck. And the goal is to achieve transformation in the first 90 days so that, you've got another, 90 days or quick math here, another couple hundred days, whatever it is to get to 6 months to actually it'd be another 90 days to really like be confident in the plan itself that we set forth. And so in that next kind of like 90 days run up to the 6 months ish, that can be give or take. We're going to take like a day off, a couple days off to sort of stress test the systems first so that you don't freak out, so that you're fully confident that we set up the frameworks to truly handle things while you're away. And so, and there is like an exception to I guess pierce the sanctity of the 2-week test would be something like any legal threats or safety issues or compliance, things that the business owner needs to know. So it's like the red line phone or something like an emergency system.
Yeah.
But that would be it. Anything else, the frameworks handle that. And again, we take a little, I guess you call it a rehearsal, an absence rehearsal to stress test the system. It's like, oh, I took the afternoon off and accounting didn't get the message and this and that. So, okay, that's where we got to focus on. Let's button that up. Maybe do another kind of a night or a day away and let's stress test it again. Okay, it worked well. Now let's go on our vacation. And you tell whoever is your number two or whoever's kind of like holding the fort down, you're like, this is the only reason you ever pierce the sanctity of my 2 or 1 week test is, legal issues, any like major emergencies that require immediate action from only the founder, but otherwise handle the fires. You've been trained, you've been empowered, and give them the ability to spend some money up to a certain amount. Like with my people, I'll tell them anything under $1,000, just go do it. And when we meet, when we have like a meeting, we'll discuss, do we need to keep that? What was the outcome of that? But if it's under 1,000, just go do it. I trust your judgment if it's going to be best for our company. And if it's over that, then yeah, let's talk about it because it's kind of a big expense.
AI as a force multiplier. You talk about AI as an ultimate efficiency multiplier. What practical AI plays can founders implement right now to save hours without adding, head count or breaking the brain?
Yeah. I tell you, I've used this a lot for various different things, like for my land investing business, for example. And it's a business I started using my frameworks. I only work at like an hour or two a week. But what I will do is if I'm making an offer on a property or on an investment, I'll sort of run it through AI first, give me the high level, have it do comps and tell me like what does it think a good offer would be. And usually it's like right on the money. I mean, it's whether the seller will accept it or not, that's, it's up to them, obviously, but it gives you like a starting point on negotiating. And then you can also like take any kind of dialogue and put it in there and it'll help you like craft your next email. That's just one example. Another one is like any kind of legal stuff that you get into or contracts, just upload it there before you hire some super duper expensive attorney. It'll do a first pass for you. Now, if you have an attorney, I say don't fire them yet. Get comfortable with ChatGPT or any of these AIs that can give you some advice. But yeah, I no longer have to pay attorneys on a retainer or hundreds of dollars an hour to get their opinion on something when I can upload it to ChatGPT and just say, hey, it's already going to know who you are, but I'm assuming if this is your first time using ChatGPT.
Right.
You upload it and then you tell it, this is who I am in the contract. These are my interests. Tell me where are the pitfalls I might not be looking at. And it might say, oh no, it's pretty clean cut, but there is this clause that if you don't make a payment in X number of days, you could default, like whatever it is, it'll give you clarity on what to look out for. So that's just another example, but it has completely decimated my legal bills just from, just legal opinions. And accelerated my ability to communicate, to make offers. And that's just an example, but so much more like comparison, like, you can like renegotiate vendor contracts, for example, if you've had contracts for years. That's one thing people just don't know, you can renegotiate things. And so take your old contracts and start asking for discounts and, upload them in ChatGPT and say, hey, where can you find leverage for me to renegotiate this contract? And, doing that over the last few months for my supplement company, I was able to slash up almost $100,000 a month in expenses. Now it's a high volume supplement company, but people listening here, hey, maybe it helped you save $300 or $400 a month. That's what, $3-4 grand a year. You can put that to something else. So anybody at any level can utilize this to renegotiate contracts, reduce expenses that maybe are a little bit wasteful that we're not mindful of. Upload your credit card statements to that and say, hey, challenge me like you're an auditor. Ask me what all these things are for. Identify the overlap. Maybe I'm paying for something twice. Like, hey, I got Zoom and I'm paying for Google Meet. They both do similar things. You know what I mean? So like, find out where I'm spending too much money. And so I'm telling you, just that right there, I'll save thousands of dollars. Could be per month, but definitely per year.
Yep, absolutely. Wow, that's fantastic. One of the last guests I talked about, we talked about, trimming the fat. Subscriptions was his main pet peeve. It's like, what where you spend? Yeah, and just
They'll sneak up on you.
Yeah, and just because you might be a six-figure business, that's still money that's going down the drain, regardless. You do not want to, that can go into I don't know, an employee of the month pool or
absolutely.
Something. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, George. So we're going to take a quick break, then we're going to come back and we're going to do the rapid fire round. So I'm about to put you on the hot seat.
Do it.
Get your brim on. Since 1972, American Hat Makers has been dedicated to the art of fine hat making. Their diverse selection caters to outdoor adventurers, style-conscious individuals, and hat enthusiasts just like me. With a focus on meticulous detail and quality materials, I love wearing their hats. Embrace your own spirit of adventure and individuality. Visit bit.ly/hats now, bit.ly hats now, or use our affiliate link in the show notes to view their vast selection of men's and women's styles. All right, George, we're back. You ready?
Ready.
All right, rapid fire. Okay. What's one thing a founder should stop doing tomorrow? You might say today. But
I would say just learn how to leverage AI for as much as you can. I mean, don't let it replace your thinking and your brain, but like some of the stuff we just discussed, I'd say like start analyzing the kind of like your expenses in an intelligent way. So, but you said to stop doing so.
Yeah.
I would say stop relying on your. You might contradict what I just said, but like stop relying on your brain power to reply to every single email. I would take any kind of complicated conversations that you have and run it through ChatGPT. Almost always, and I hesitate to say almost. I want to say almost like it's always provided me the best response and it's achieved the outcome I've always wanted, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So for any kind of tough conversation or negotiation, stop using your brain power because that's draining and put it in ChatGPT and say, hey, act as the best negotiator or act as someone who wants to find a peaceful solution to this or whatever the outcome that you want. You're always going to get, at least in my experience, going to get something that you can use that helps get to the outcome that you desire. So it's going to save a lot of brain power.
All right. What's the first hire that buys back the most time?
I feel like an operations person is the one that buys back time. And it really just depends what your main objective is. If you're more in marketing, it could be marketing support, but that a lot of that could also fall under operations. So I would say operations is probably the first hire I would recommend.
All right. Delegation red flag. What's the number one sign you've taken the monkey back?
The number one sign, I would say that if people keep asking you questions as far as like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And you just like do it for them instead of like fixing the reason that you got it off your plate to begin with. That's the biggest sign. And to me, that's like my new definition of insanity. You know, the old definition is, you know, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. For me, it's when you're doing something that you hired somebody else to do. That's kind of insane. And I was insane for many years.
Understood. 2-week vacation test. Pass it with people, systems, or mindset first.
I feel like the most powerful way to go into it is with the systems, because you might go in with a bit of a nervous and hesitant mindset, but it should hopefully put you at ease as the more you go into it that hey, everything's okay, world's not falling apart. You know, my number two can call me if there's like a legit emergency that only I can handle. Phone hasn't rang yet. I think we're good.
Finish the sentence. A founder's time is worth more when they
focus on the things that only they can do, which only really they know that. But in my opinion, every founder should be focusing on like revenue generating activities, like strategic relationships. If you like have, you know, like a storefront or an e-com store, it's new offers or identifying new markets you can go into. High level strategic thinking, not nitty gritty stuff that, yes, it's important, but it doesn't move the needle. That's stuff other people should be doing.
Well, George Rivera, it's been an awesome time being with you today, learning so much and sharing your personal story, which really fuels this, which is the fuel behind the success of your professional story. So really appreciate that. Where can we find you and what is it that you want us to do?
Absolutely, Audrey. Well, yeah, it's been great joining me here today. And yeah, you can go to buybacktimeformula.com and there you'll see links to my socials. You can communicate with me there. You know, add me on Facebook. I post every day some content, and I have a link to my book. It's free, just pay for shipping. It's a heavy book. Like, it's not some flouchy, flimsy little thing. It's 128 pages. And yeah, it'll share with you all the frameworks. And, you know, my intention in creating this book was to pour out everything I know about these time-saving frameworks that'll free you up from being the bottleneck to the present founder, to pour into your family or to build other businesses or to travel or whatever it is that you find passionate in life that your business isn't allowing you to do. It has everything in there. You know, there's other people that'll sell books and they give you a nice couple tips. And then it's like, but you want the big one, you got to pay money when you click that link. I have ways to contact me there. If you need more help, I offer more help. But honestly, I know it's contrary to my sales goals, but I hope people buy it and they're like, oh my gosh, this book, I don't need to contact George. It's all in here. But I also know some people are going to be so busy, like the me of 10 years ago, that I would have paid a mini fortune to collapse the time for the transformation. So that option's there too. But my hope is people get it and it changes lives and bring families together at the end of the day.
Absolutely. But George, thanks again. I really appreciate you and Tech Diva Nation. You already know what to do, and definitely go to what's the link again, George?
It's buybacktimeformula.com, and they'll see all that they want to see right there.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you next time. That's it for today's Tech Diva Biz Talks. Hope you caught a gem or two. If you did, share it, review it, and most of all, put it into action. Until next time, tune in, level up, and talk tech.